To this now, the U.S. Vice President JD Vance is beginning a 4-day visit to India. He will have talks with the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who is hoping for a deal to avoid steep U.S. tariffs. Modi and Vance are expected to review progress made on the bilateral agenda outlined in February when the Indian leader met U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington. SABC News correspondent Ishan Garg joins us now live from New Delhi in India with the latest. Ishan, a very good afternoon to you. So this visit comes amid global trade tensions and as New Delhi also, as we've been saying, looks to avoid U.S. tariffs. What can we expect during these talks?
Well, trade tensions are certainly going to be high on the agenda, and there is an expectation that when Vice President JD Vance meets Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, we understand that meeting is currently underway in New Delhi. That meeting is likely to focus on the solutions and how these two countries can move forward. In the past few days, we have seen massive engagements between the US and Indian government, with Indian officials meeting their US counterparts, trying to work out a deal that could benefit both countries. From India's side, the hope is that the 90-day window that it has been provided after the tariffs were paused, it can use that 90 days to actually create a deal that will hopefully reduce, limit, or ultimately remove the impact of the 26% tariffs that were once imposed by the US President Donald Trump. While we are speaking, Indian officials, Indian Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is actually in the US. So we are seeing bilateral engagements happening both in New Delhi and in Washington. It remains to be seen how those negotiations, how that deal turns out to be, because as we understand, we are still in the very early stages of finalizing a trade pact. But both sides have already said that trade is certainly going to be the cornerstone of this relationship going forward, and Prime Minister Modi and JD Vance are likely to talk about the two countries' vision going forward, which Modi and President Trump had discussed back in February, which is taking India-US trade partnership to $300 billion by 2030.
Ishan, of course, I want us to unpack a little bit about what is at stake here, particularly when you look at, India. I mean, we know that, of course, the U.S. is India's largest trading partner, and that the two countries, as you have been saying, are negotiating those, bilateral trade agreements this year, and with ambitious plans, we are told. But what is at stake here for India? What's the implications?
Well, the implications of the 26% tariffs, if they do kick in, they could be massive. According to one study conducted, it found that India could lose about $7 billion every single year in import losses if those tariffs were to stick. Now, second problem is the problems Indian government is facing with the domestic industry, particularly agriculture and dairy farmers, who say that not just the US-India trade pact, but any sort of free trade agreement that New Delhi signs could be detrimental to their income. And this is where the Delhi government is finding itself in a bit of a fix, because on one side you've got the United States, which is a stable partner for New Delhi, and trade is a key component of building that relationship further. But on the other, you've got India's farmers and dairy farmers who are saying that free trade agreements could be problematic. And this is a sector that represents about 2/3 of the workforce in India, and it's also a very crucial voting bloc for any political party that comes to power. So maintaining this balance between foreign policy objectives and also making sure that you've got the voters here at home, especially the farmers who are not angry with the trade agreements, that's going to be a very difficult balance to strike for the Delhi government.
Yeah, in our earlier report, of course, we gave our viewers a sense of what Modi and Vance have said, following the passing of Pope Francis. But just give us a sense of what else is entailed in Vance's 4-day visit. I mean, is this going to be an official 4 days, or is it more also a combination of both personal and business for JD Vance?
Well, it's certainly a combination of both official and a personal visit, because on day one, which is in New Delhi, all the official engagements are taking place on Monday, and in the next couple of days, he is going to be interacting with Indian officials and academics in some sense. But a bulk of the next few days of Vice President JD Vance in India, that's going to be more of a personal trip. He's going to be visiting Agra, where the famous Taj Mahal is housed, and then he's going to go to Jaipur, where he will be hosted by the state's Deputy Chief Minister and the royal family of Rajasthan as well. So there is a big personal component to his India trip. And experts are actually saying that this cultural linkage that JD Vance has with India, because his wife is a practicing Hindu, she is the daughter of Indian immigrants who had moved to the United States several decades ago. This cultural linkage is actually very important, because New Delhi would hope that there are people like Mr. Vance in the Trump administration who could potentially have a soft corner for India, who could see that cultural linkage, and hopefully that translates into a closer Delhi-Washington relationship.
Ishan, thank you so much for that update. Really appreciate it. SABC News correspondent Ishan Garg, live for us from New Delhi in India.